Listen. Hey, how's that? Listen. Can't hear you. Have to talk a little mite louder. Listen. Well, you don't have to shout. I'm not deaf, you know. I'm delighted to be appearing in this film today for two reasons. One, I believe that what we're going to discuss is extremely important to all of us because it affects our company. And whatever affects the company must certainly affect each and every one of us. The other reason is that, well, to tell you the truth, I love an audience. So let's get on with it. When I was a boy, my dad called me into the living room and he said, "Sit down." I sat down and he said, "Now listen." Dad always called me listen. He said, "I'm going to tell you about the birds and the bees." And he did. And you know, for 6 months, I went steady with a sparrow. Well, today we're going to tell you about the birds and the bees. But please, don't anyone leave the room in alarm, because I assure you, nothing will be said here today that will be shocking to any of your ears. Well, in a way, I hope that it does shock an ear or two. And this is the reason. In our observations during the preparation of this program, it became more and more apparent that one word was the guideline for you to follow to the successful fulfillment of your objectives. One word that could mean to you, if carefully handled, successful telephone contacts. And that word? Well, you may have guessed by now. 6 letters. L-I-S-T-E-N. Listen. And we don't just mean listen with the ears to what's being said. Oh, no, we mean much more than that. We're talking about listening with all of the senses to what's not being said. Listen to the pauses in a customer's conversation. Listen to the inflections in his dialogue. Many times, if you can read into those pauses and inflections what he is trying to say but is not actually giving voice to, you can read volumes of valuable information. Now, what do we mean by the birds and the bees? Well, first of all, what is a bird? Well, a bird is a winged creature that chirps a lot, flies all over the place, and wakes us up in the morning. So a bird is a customer. Heaven knows they chirp a lot. T&F orders prove that they fly all over the place, and a call from a customer is enough to wake anyone up in the morning. So a customer is a bird, but they are our customers. We're dependent on them. So bless our fine feathered friends. Now, what is a bee? Now, when that customer or bird has a problem, he's going to call the telephone company. And when he does, it's your telephone that will buzz. And when you answer it, you will be, to that customer, the telephone company. You will be each and every department in the telephone company that it takes to solve that customer's problem. And you will ultimately be the source of satisfaction to that customer. So, you are the bees. Now, today we're going to introduce you to 4 birds. Or customers, if you prefer. The customers you're going to meet are not representative of any specific type of customer or groups of customers. They're more of a potpourri of all the customers in all the world. The problems you may be able to relate to, however, because certainly there are more customers in this world than there are problems. So some of these may seem very familiar. And now, if for the next few minutes you will imagine that I am a girl. No, let's rephrase that. If for the next few minutes you will imagine that a service representative is a man, I think we'll get along much better. We will meet our first bird, who happens to be the Roadrunner. And if you've ever seen the Roadrunner in the movies, you know that he travels around at a pretty fast beep-beep clip. Well, this Roadrunner is off on a trip, and he needs help. So he calls the telephone company, his Traveler's Aid Society, and asks for that assistance. Let's find out what happens when the Roadrunner calls the business office for help. Listen. Mr. Rizzo?
Oh. Hey, that's you?
This is Mr. Rizzo. May I help you?
My name is Baccigalupi.
Baccigalupi.
That's right. B-A-C-C-I, Galupi, Baccigalupi.
I'm quite aware of the spelling, sir. How may I help you?
Well, I tell you, I want my telephone shut off.
Shut up.
That's right. I'm moving.
You mean you want it disconnected?
That's right. Shut off.
I'm moving it to 125 B Street in Anaheim.
How nice.
I'm going to get a new one then.
Isn't that lovely?
Say, let me ask you a
Yeah,
question.
all righty.
Can you arrange for me to get a new telephone into my new house?
No. We don't transfer records out of the city. If you were moving within San Francisco, why, yes, then we could, yes.
Well, how am I going to get a new telephone in Anaheim?
Well, you just have to call them when you get there.
Do I got to talk some more about the credit?
Oh, yes. I imagine they'll want that information.
Holy macaroni, can you not send my record?
No.
Isn't that the Pacifica telephone?
Well, it may be. I'm really not sure. However, we do not transfer out of the city.
All right, just to shut up with my phone.
Yes, sir. What is your telephone number, please?
362-0170.
Yes, hold the line a moment. I'll get your record.
So, let me...
3634. Oh, dear.
Sure take a long time. Son of a gun.
When the money hits you, I like a big pizza pie that's a messy. Maybe this guy went home for the night.
All right, Mr. Bacicalopi, I have them. Now, when would you like your telephone disconnected?
How about the 1 week from today?
That would be Friday the 24th.
That's right.
All right.
And where shall we send the bill?
You mean I gotta pay to shut him up?
Well, no, but there will be the charges for your telephone until we disconnect. Now, where shall we send that?
All right. To 125 B Street, Anaheim, California, like I told you already once. No. Where will you leave the key?
What, the key?
Well, the key to the apartment you're in now, so we can take the old telephone out.
The landlord, she's in apartment A.
Fine. We'll have our plant man talk to her.
The plant man? What's wrong with my garden, for goodness sakes?
No. The plant man is the man that will take your old telephone out for us, don't you understand?
I thought...
Yes. Yes, that's quite all right. Now, if you'll allow me to recap, please. We will disconnect your service of 582 Delaware Apartment C in San Francisco on September 24th and to the final bill to 125 East Street in Anaheim, California, to the apartment manager for you to remove the old telephone. Is that correct, sir? Mr. Bacicalopi?
Huh? That's quite all right, sir. We'll take care of it.
Oh, my God.
And so our roadrunner is off to Anaheim. But when he gets there, he's going to have to wait quite a while for telephone service because our service representative wasn't listening. It also took him quite a while to get the records because he wasn't listening. And you probably realized that he gave out some incorrect information, also due to a lack of listening, which we'll talk about later. But now, let's see what might have happened had he listened.
Hello, my name is Bacicalopi.
B-A-C-C-I-G-A-L-U-P-I?
That's right. I want my telephone shut off.
Yes, sir. What is your telephone number, please?
That's 362-0170.
362-0170. Hold the line a moment, sir. I'll get your records.
Pretty.
Sorry to keep you waiting, sir. Are you moving?
That's right. I'm moving to Anaheim.
Oh, and will you want new telephone service in that area?
Sure. Hey, can you handle them for me?
Well, I can do this for you, sir. I can transfer your records and have the Anaheim business office call you about telephone service. Will that be all right?
That's nice. When can they call?
Well, would tomorrow be all right? And can they reach you on this telephone number?
Sure.
Now, when will you be leaving, and what will be your new address?
125 B Street, and I'm moving next Friday, the 24th.
Fine. Now, when you leave, Mr. Bacicalopi, we would like to take the old telephone out of your San Francisco apartment. Can the landlord let us in?
Well, I guess so.
Where would we find him?
Apartment A.
Excellent. Now, if you'll let me double-check this to be sure that it's correct. We will disconnect your present telephone, which is 362-0170.
That's right.
On the 24th. And I will have the Anaheim business office call you tomorrow about new telephone service at 125 B Street. Oh, and if we may, we will mail the final bill for your San Francisco telephone until it's disconnected on the 24th to that address.
That's fine. Thank you. Grazie.
Well, thank you, Mr.
Goodbye.
Bacicalopi.
Arrivederci.
Goodbye. And so now the Roadrunner is off to Anaheim with a totally different feeling. And shortly after he arrives, he'll have telephone service because the service representative listened and gave out correct information. And he also takes with him a pleasant memory of a telephone contact in our area. Now, probably the most famous bird to the history of man is the nightingale. It certainly has one of the most familiar voices. Well, our business office has its nightingale as well, and all the girls are familiar with her voice because they've all taken turns talking to her. But she is a customer, and she does have a real problem. Listen.
Hello, honey. This is Grandmama Day.
Oh, hello, Grandma Maudie.
Sorry to bother you, dearie, but my telephone was disconnected before it was supposed to be.
What do you mean before it was supposed to be?
Well, I'm moving on Friday, and I called the girlie, and the girlie said that she'd have the new telephone turned on then. Well, this is only Wednesday.
Well, they turned off my old telephone. I'm giving a swinging party tonight, and I went to call the store, and it was dead. And not the store, dearie, the telephone. Little bit levity there.
Well, what did you want us to do? Turn it back on?
Well, sure, honey. I had to get on my motor scooter to come down here and call you up on the payphone. I had to break open Sonny's piggy bank to get a dime. Of course, he won't care. Left home 30 years ago.
Well, we'll see what we can do.
All right. Will you call me back?
Oh, yes. What's your telephone number?
465-3214.
Fine. I'll call you in 1 hour.
Oh, thank you, ring-a-ding.
Ring-a-ding? Well, I have a feeling that Ring-a-ding is going to have some trouble getting back to Grandma Maudie, because if he were really listening, he'd realize that that telephone is disconnected. And how in the world is he going to call her back when it will surely take it longer than 1 hour to get back into service? Now, let's see what listening might have done.
Hello, honey. This is Grandma Maudie calling.
Hello, Grandma Maudie.
Sorry to bother you, dearie, but my phone was disconnected before it was supposed to be.
Oh, I'm sorry if we've made an error.
No, I guess it's not your fault, but I'm moving on Friday, and my new telephone will be turned on then. I sure would like to keep the old one working. I'm in a payphone now.
Certainly you should have your telephone. We'll have someone call you as soon as it's working. What's your telephone number?
465-3214.
And you'd better give me the address you're moving to so I can double check on that.
Well, I'm moving to 555 Mission Street.
Oh, yes, I have those records here. As I say, we'll have someone call you as soon as it's working.
Thanks, dearie. You know, I'm having a party. Oh, it'll be a jazzeroni, and I think that
Well, I have a feeling that since Ring-a-Ding listened this time, and because he gave Grandma Maudie correct information and told her that someone would call her back, but not necessarily he, and certainly not in 1 hour, but when the telephone was in service again, he's liable to wangle himself an invitation to that party. Now, if you've ever gone into a pet shop, you have certainly seen the mynah bird or the parrot. And if you have, you know that they repeat everything they ever hear, but they don't understand one word of it. Listen.
Yeah, this is all wrong. I know it, yeah. This is all wrong.
But I have your records here, sir. Now, what seems to be the trouble?
Yeah, well, I pay and you keep charging. I send the money and you charge me again. $26 I pay once and you keep charging again over the $26. I don't know what
I see that, but now don't you really think so?
Well, I'm wondering what I can do.
Yes, well, you see, now the first month in July, you had $4.80 for regular service charge. Now, it was in July. Now, your messenger calls amounted to $11.05 and long distance calls, $10.15. Now, you made that payment, but the next monthly bill had been made up before we were able to record your payment, so it was just simply added, don't you see? Why, you should have just deducted the $26 from your bill. It's as simple as that. Are you there?
I pay on your charge. What happened?
Your account seems clear now. You should receive the credit of the $26 on your next bill.
Yeah, credit on the
Yes, that's
next.
right. Yes, do you understand now?
Yeah, sure, yeah, well, I don't know, well, sure, I understood. What do you think I am, a dummy or something?
Well, I'm glad it's all clear now, sir.
Yeah, auf Wiedersehen, I think.
And he's not sure whether it's Auf Wiedersehen, aloha, till we meet again, or what have you. Because when that customer hung up, he was really hung up. And why? He might have been a little afraid to get involved in this kind of a problem, so he wasn't listening. Now let's see what might have happened had he listened.
Yes, this is all wrong, I know it.
Well, I have your records here, sir. Shall we go over them together?
No, yeah, maybe straightening it out we can. Once I paid $26, and now again you charge me.
Well, I'm awfully sorry if you've been inconvenienced. Have you your January bill?
Yeah, I paid it.
Well, first, have you any question what the $26 was for?
No.
Well, then you paid the $26. However, each of your payments should be in our office by the 15th of each month to be listed on the new bill.
Oh, yeah?
Now, that payment did not arrive until the 16th, or perhaps the mail was slow in arriving. It does happen, you know. The $26 payment is showing on our records, although we weren't able to show it on your bill.
But what do I do now?
Well, knowing that you made the payment, you can just deduct the $26 from this bill and pay the remainder. Will that be all right?
Yeah.
Now, if you'll mail it right away, we'll be sure and take proper care of it when it arrives. Oh, and if you'd like, why don't you mail it to my attention? My name is Rizzo, R-I-Z-Z-O, Rizzo.
R-I-Z-Z-O.
That's right.
Oh, you do me this favor. Oh, you are wunderbar.
Well, it's my pleasure. And it should be the service representative's pleasure to know that when the customer hangs up, he's totally and completely satisfied. Now, we have one more bird that we'd like you to meet. This time, we'll only listen to the incorrect way the call was handled because I think the right way will be self-evident. This time, he's a peacock. He's very proud and should never be put down.
No, well, no, I guess I can afford that. We'll have it installed then.
Well, now, we ask that $7 in advance, and then it will be deducted from your first month's bill.
Oh.
Now, you can either mail it to us or go directly and pay it in person at our public office, whichever you prefer.
Well, now, let me ask you this question. Will it be any faster if I go to the office and pay it?
Oh, yes, indeed it will. Now, our office is at 444 Bush Street in San Francisco. Do you know where Bush Street is?
No, I don't. No. Oh, but don't worry about it. I'll find it.
Well, do you know where Kearney Street is?
Oh, no, I don't. No, but well, Kearney Street. No, there is a Kearney Street back home in Dublin, but I don't imagine that's the one you're talking about.
Well, now, what about the Palace Hotel?
Oh, the Palace Hotel. Oh, that's a nice name. No, I don't know that, the Palace. No, I don't. But that's all right now, don't.
Now, what about the Union Square Park?
Oh, the Union Square Park. Oh, I do love parks. Oh, I do, but I don't know where that one is. No, I don't. But, well, I do know this. I do know where the downtown post office is, you know.
Well, you can start there.
Oh, no, I can stop there. I'm going to mail my payment.
And so the little man is going to the post office rather than to the business office. The time to complete that call was, if he had been listening, he heard the little peacock say, "Oh, don't worry about it. I'll find it." But he wasn't listening. Exaggerated? Yes. Hypothetical? Yes. Shortened? Yes. You realize that calls take longer than that and are usually more involved. And why exaggerated? Because we wanted you to enjoy this as much as we wanted to make our point. And that point, again, is that this word listen is the direct route for you to follow to the successful fulfillment of your objectives. Now, you know what those objectives are. You've heard them many times. But today, let's relate them to listening. When your telephone buzzes or rings or the light flashes or whatever it may be, you know that there's a customer 9 out of 10 times on the other end of that line. And if you've listened, really listened, when you lift that receiver, you will be prepared. And you'll be prepared because you listen not from the time you lifted the receiver, but from the time you started to work with the telephone company. You listened in your classrooms to your instructors. You listened on the job to your supervisors. You never know what piece of information they're giving you, no matter how immaterial it may seem at the time, is the exact piece of information that you're going to need. And you never know when you're going to need it. And you'll be prepared, believe it or not, because you listened in the coffee shop to your girlfriends. Now, I know that sounds kind of strange, but think about it for just a moment. The girls you're having coffee with and lunch with are doing the same job exactly as you are. So their conversation along a communications line should be of interest to you as well. So listen to them. The next time you're in the coffee shop and your girlfriend comes flying in, her hair's all in disarray, and she says, "Oh, boy, you'll never believe the customer I just had on the line. It was unbelievable. From the Twilight Zone came this gal." Listen to her. Listen to her and enjoy what she says. It'll probably be funny, so laugh at it. But listen to that solution and get it up here. How did she solve the customer's problem? File it away. Now, she may be wrong. She may be right. That'll be up to you to evaluate later on for your own benefit. But get the solution, and then when that same problem comes across your lines, as the law of averages proves that it will, you will be prepared. And if you listen, really listen, you'll be positive. You'll be positive-minded, because all of this listening will give you a vast storehouse of knowledge that will lend to you an air of confidence, so that you'll know when you're sitting at your telephone, no matter what call that comes across that line, you'll be ready to handle it. No matter what question a customer asks you, you will have an answer. Now, I don't mean that you should sit at your desk 2 weeks from today and say, "Well, it's 2 weeks from the day that I saw the man from Listen, and it's 8:30 in the morning, and he told me that if I listened, I'd have a vast storehouse of knowledge. So the next call that comes across the line, if I got an answer for them." This would be doing it at your customer's expense. We only suggest that you try to use this as a working tool so that you will be prepared 99% of the time when that call comes across that telephone line. And then no matter what a customer asks you, 99% of the time you'll have the answer. The other 1% that you do not, through listening you will know exactly where you can go to get a correct answer to solve that customer's problem. And think of ways you can help a customer, not ways that we can't help him. If a man calls in and he says, "Say, I got a problem with my telephone. It won't do the things little bitty telephones are supposed to do. Now, for instance, the dial won't dial, and the cord won't cord, and then the switch hook won't do either one of those things. Can you help me?" Don't say no immediately, "Sir, I'm sorry, we can't help you." Say, "Well, I'm sure there's some way that we can solve this for you, sir. Let me think for just a moment." Then pause, reflect, and listen to your thoughts. And if you come up with the right answer, well and good. If you do not, then off to find someone that will have a solution for that problem. Remember, there is nothing in this world humanly possible that we will not do for each and every customer. And if you listen, you'll be interested. Is there anyone in this world that can listen to someone and not be interested in them? But by the same token, is there anyone in this world that cannot listen to someone and be interested? So listen to your customers. You'll gain this interest. And when you do, you'll become involved in that customer's problem. And when you become involved in the problem, you'll derive as much satisfaction out of solving it as the customer will in having it solved. And if you listen, you will be helpful. Now, you know far better than I that many times a customer calls the telephone company with a real problem, but they only want one thing. They want to talk about it. So they call the company looking for a girl with broad shoulders. And if you answer the line, well, that has to be you. So listen to them all the way from the beginning to the complete end, and then pause. Don't say anything. See if they have anything to say. Don't interrupt them or try to precede their discussion with your solution. Listen to them all the way out. And if you'll do this, many times that customer will solve their own problem simply by talking it right out of their system. And then when they hang up, satisfied, you will know that you have been helpful. And if you listen, really listen, you'll be understood. Because you listen to yourselves as well as to the customer. Listen to the language you're using. Be sure that you are translating into his terminology and never ask him to translate into yours. Remember, he's not in communications. So if we use telephony on him, we're only giving him a big case of telephonitis. Now, if you say to a customer, "Sir, I have your C card. Now, I see you have a 1FR and an extension. Where are those stations, please?" He won't know what you're talking about. And why should he? He's not in communications. And when you're recapping, don't go 90 miles a minute like our service representative did. Speak slowly, distinctly, and punctuate each and every important point that you want your customer to take away with him. Remember, it's not his job to listen. It's his job to tell. It's our job to listen. And if you listen, really listen, we will be courteous. Many people say that the company sells service. And we do. I'd be the last one in the world to deny that. But I like to take it one step farther. I believe we sell courteous service. And of the two words, I think this is probably the most important of all, because it's on this word that our company image is built. And it's a very, very tall building, with each of you as individual foundations, but it's a house of cards. And when one of you breaks down in this important point, that house of cards comes tumbling down, and it's up to you to rebuild it in the minds of your individual customers. So listen with sincere interest, and speak to them as you would be spoken to. And smile. Wear a smile. Crack it open once in a while. It doesn't hurt a bit. It feels good. Radio announcers sit day in and day out in front of a microphone smiling. They look silly, I admit. But the person on the other end of the radio doesn't see that smile. They only hear it. And the same will be true with you. Smile into that handset. The person on the other end of the line won't see that smile, but believe me, they will hear it. Victor Borga said something you might like. He said, the shortest distance between two people is a smile. Try it. And if you listen, really listen, you'll be accurate. But this is the only way that you'll get all the correct information, the correct spelling of the name, the correct address, the correct telephone number, so that you can go to the records and come back and handle this call in a fast and smooth manner. And when you process the paper interdepartmentally, everyone in the telephone company that comes in contact with this customer's problem will benefit by the fact that you in the beginning listened. And that benefit will ultimately come around full swing to the one person that really counts, the customer. And if you listen, really listen, you will be thorough. But this is the only way that the company will get all the facts and data that it will take them to solve this customer's problem satisfactorily. And if you listen, really listen, you'll be reliable. When a customer calls the telephone company, he expects them to be reliable. And who is the telephone company? You and I. So it's up to us to show him this reliability. And if we have listened, we will be accurate, thorough, fast, smooth, courteous, all the things that we have talked about, which add up to this one all-important encompassing point, reliable. And if you listen, really listen, then the customer will be satisfied. Now, I don't feel that anyone can give you bylaws, regulations, or instructions on how to listen. It's not something that can be taught. You must teach yourselves. We are not even attempting to teach you today, because the success cannot come from us. It must come from you. We are only suggesting that you think about using this as a working tool. We know that it will be beneficial to you. Now, we can suggest that you practice. Oh, I know that sounds kind of silly. How in the world do you practice listening? What's he want me to do? I'm wearing my ears today. What else can I do? Well, the first thing, when you leave this room today, say to yourself, I listened to that man blabber on for 30 minutes. What in the world did he say? And see how much you can remember. And when you're talking with your girlfriends, have a nice conversation, then she goes off that way and you go off this. See what you can remember. Let's see, she's going out tonight, that's right, and she's going to wear a pink dress, that's right, and she's going to the top of the mark, that's right, and she's going out with Tom, Dick, Harry. She's going out with all three of them? For goodness sakes, this is the way to sharpen your memory wits. See how much of it you can recall. Well, what about it? Are we all hunky-dunky, 100% A#1 listening type persons? How about it? Hold up the pinkies, all the listeners. Let's find out. I'm going to show you a card and ask you to read it. And then after you've read it, I'd like to see how many F's you found in the sentence on this card. Now, I'll show it to you, read it over, and then see how many F's you find in the card. Well, how many did you find? The average American, male or female, will find 3 or 4 F's in this sentence. Do you know how many there really are? There are 6 F's in this sentence. Let me read them. Finished files are the end result of years of scientific study combined with the experience of many years. Now, what happened? In the word of, when it was read by the eye, the letter F was transformed into the sound of a V, and people invariably miss it. so don't feel bad. I'd like to read from the back of this card. It is surprising how often we fail to perceive things as they actually are. Conditioned habit patterns prevent all of us from functioning as efficiently as we should in this and many similar ways. And farther on down the line it says, we should all learn how to be good listeners on the telephone. Think, if this little F being transformed into the sound of a V can trick the eye, how many things in this world can trick the ear? Remember, birds of a feather flock together, and whether they be our Italian friend Luigi, Paddy the Irishman, Grandma Maudie, or Hans von Krakenpfuffer, when they're upset or dissatisfied, the sound they make is like, well, it's like a flock of angry birds. There's no more unpleasant sound in this world. We want to change that sound. I believe Mr. Capel of the American Company put it in the best manner when he said, the most demanding measurement of our performance is the customer's opinion of his experience with us. If you listen, really listen, that experience will be a happy one, for the customer will be satisfied. Thank you for listening.